I'm Nick Shell. I have returned to do another video responding from a great comment I received on MyHeritage, Messianic Judaism, why did your family convert? This is the second half of the comment. The first half I used to discuss whether Christians have more to lose in converting to Judaism than Jewish people do when they convert to Christianity on an internal perspective. Here's the second half, and this is not about religion. This is about, well, you'll see what it's about. Here it is. Quote, my family had converted. They still treasured their culture by doing traditions, but of course, they still faced persecution and had to change one of the family names from Goldstein to Gomez. But with my grandmother, she was a crypto-Sephardic Jew. Ever since the Catholics forced upon Catholicism in the 17th century, they just kept it with a mixture of Jewish traditions and remembering they were actually Jews, end quote. So that's interesting. The thing that really jumps out at me is this thing, Goldstein versus Gomez. That's really what this video is about. I'm going to ask the question immediately, and then we're going to discuss it for the rest of the video. If you had to choose a last name in modern day America, and you only had two choices, Goldstein or Gomez, which would you choose? That's the question, and I want you to leave that in the comments, and if you'd like to elaborate, I'd love to hear why you choose one or the other. If you had to choose as a modern day American, would you choose Goldstein or Gomez? Now, obviously, for Sephardic Jews, back then, in Spain, totally get it why Gomez would be the better option if you're trying to escape persecution and become part of the culture. And you even change your religion in the process. Totally understand that. My point is that perhaps it's ironic, modern day America, you're much better being a Goldstein than a Gomez. That's my theory, but I want you to vote in the comments on that. So please do that. I'm going to use the rest of the video to now explain what to me is common sense. And please let me know if you agree or disagree. Goldstein versus Gomez. Here's my way of thinking. Okay? And by the way, what I'm about to say is not politically correct, but that's why I have this channel. We can say things that are not politically correct so that we can actually get to the root of the problem and understanding what's actually going on. I say, hands down, modern day American, you want the name Goldstein, not Gomez. Okay? Before I even get started to that, I have to say something. My grandmother was Mexican, so I am definitely, undeniably Mexican. I'm a quarter of me. I'm quarter Mexican. My grandmother married someone who was half Sephardic Jewish. Never knew that until this summer when we did the DNA test, but I actually am of both backgrounds ethnically. Mexican and Sephardic Jewish. It just so happens, right? That's me. I'm both Sephardic Jewish and Mexican, okay? I want to be very clear about that. But my last name is Shell, like the gas station. It's German. I didn't end up with a Sephardic Jewish last name. I didn't end up with a Spanish last name, which would indicate that I was Mexican. Shell. It's kind of a weird name because it's so short and simple. Shell. That's my last name. Okay? So my last name, I can't relate to this, but if I had to choose as a modern day American, if I was changing my last name and it had to be either Goldstein or Gomez, hands down I'd choose Goldstein. And here's why. The way Jewish people are perceived now in modern day America is with a sense of fascination and reverence. Why? Because Jewish people over the history of the world have been persecuted. They get to America, there's suddenly, Jewish people are known for their success here. After generation and generation of persecution, they get here to America, they're able to take advantage of what America is all about and build something upon all that they've done. Jewish people are known for being successful in America. If there was a Jewish stereotype, modern day, it'd be that they're successful financially. And I've talked about that before, and Jewish people have commented and agreed there's a reason for that. After generations of persecutions, they get here and they overcome that, and everything that they learned in managing their money because they had to, because they weren't allowed to be involved in culture the same way other ethnicities were, other races were, whatever you want to call it, they were forced to manage their money better. And they get to America, and man, I'm telling you, it's the stereotype. If you're Jewish and you're American, if there was one stereotype about you, it's that you're successful. It may not be politically correct, but I stand by that. I think even if nothing else subliminally, that's what people think about Jewish people here in America. They're successful. With that being said, what if your last name is Gomez? It's to assume that you're Mexican or you're part Mexican. And if you're part Mexican, it's to be assumed that even if you are my age, if you're in your 30s, you still came from a background in which you didn't come from the success that someone who is Jewish did. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's how, behind closed doors, I believe that things actually happen. When it's for a job interview, who do we want to interview? This guy, Nick Gomez, or Nick Goldstein? Do we want the guy from a Jewish background who probably knows a thing or two about financial success, or Gomez, the guy whose parents may or may not have English as their first language? Let's go with Goldstein. That's my theory. You got to understand, I am not saying that's right. I'm actually saying it's wrong, is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's wrong. That's the whole point of this video. It's wrong. But it happens. So what I'm saying is, whereas in the days of Spain and being a Sephardic Jew, that you were better off changing your name to a Spanish name, modern day America, you're much better off having Goldstein as a last name than you are Gomez. What do you think about my theory? Vote. If you had to choose a name, a last name as an American, would you choose Goldstein or Gomez? If you had to choose, can you understand my logic and my reasoning why that is? Despite it being wrong the way it happens, that I feel that our culture would favor a Goldstein over Gomez. Again, it's wrong, but the fact that it still happens. Therefore, would you choose Goldstein or would you choose Gomez as a last name? Vote in the comments.